Hi, Sebastian. I'm Amanda.
Hello.
How you doing today?
I'm okay. How about yourself?
I'm good. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about you and what brings you here today?
Well, I'm 20 years old. I'm a mechanic. I work for a repossession company right now, and recently I relapsed and started shooting heroin, and I got called at work. They sent me for a random drug test, and from that I had to tell my wife, and she thought I'd been clean for the past 2 years, and that caused a big fight.
Wow.
Me and her talked a little bit and thought it was the best bet to try and get treatment
So, you've tried.
again. I tried treatment. Went to a methadone clinic about 4 or 5 years ago, so I was 24.
And
And I pretty much treated it as a joke. I was still using and not really participating, and that overall ended up leading to an overdose I had. And I went and did a 6-month program at a rehab facility, and then I was clean for 2 years after that, about 2.5.
wow, it's a lot. So, you were clean. So, after you went to rehab for 6 months, you've been clean since.
Yeah, I stayed clean after that. I did NA for a little while. It helped a little bit, but didn't really stick. wasn't wasn't really my thing. I mean, I met a few people there I still talk to, but it was a little much there.
So, you feel like it. What do you mean?
It was a little much with for me personally, I guess, with the huge religion aspect, and I guess honestly how big some of them groups can be, and all the stories other people share, and it can be much sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess me personally, something smaller would have probably been a little bit better for my personality, I guess.
Yeah. I think here we do offer groups and stuff like that. They're not mandatory. We don't push, the steps or anything like
Right.
that. So it makes for people who don't believe in or who aren't as religious and whatnot. And plus, because it's not mandatory, it feels like they have the option to come and they're not forced.
Right.
So, that's definitely something that we could talk about later on if you're interested. And like, it's much smaller, like you said,
Right.
bigger settings. So why don't you tell me a little bit, I guess, about how your addiction started? What age, like, how old were you when I guess you first dabbled? Let's start with, I guess, when you first started with drugs.
I guess it was 13 or 14. I started drinking, going parties here and there, and then started smoking pot at 16, and still continuing to party on the weekends and stuff like that. Um, I guess the hard drugs didn't start until 19. I got in a car accident on the way home from a party. My friend was driving.
Can I pause you real quick? What do you mean by hard drugs?
Well, not alcohol or pot. After my accident, I was prescribed oxycodone or oxycontins and hydrocodone. So more hard than alcohol or marijuana.
Okay, so excuse me for interrupting. Let's back up to your accident.
Me and my friend were driving home from a party, and he was intoxicated, and a little more than he should have been in driving, and I was, half asleep, and I just remember waking up, and the car was, rolling over, I guess you could say, and I broke my arm in a bunch of places, my hip, I fractured that, and I displaced 2 discs in my neck, and I ended up having to get surgery on my arm, which left me with 3 plates and like 30 screws in my arm.
Now?
So, yes. So,
Oh my gosh. That's terrible.
yeah.
So,
So after that, they prescribed me hydrocodone and oxycontin,
uh-huh.
and I took them for probably about 6, 7 months until they cut me off and wanted me to seek pain management and stuff like that, but my insurance didn't cover it through my job. It
Right.
was just expensive. I ended up, liked the way that they made me feel and found them on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And they started getting a little more expensive, so then I switched to heroin. And at first I was just sniffing it. I was probably about 21 was when I started heroin. And,
Had you ever sniffed?
Yeah, I sniffed, the Percocets here and there, but it wasn't a huge thing. I mainly took them and sniffed one here and there.
Yeah.
But, I switched to heroin because it was much cheaper for the same feeling. And you got more for less, and so I continued to do that and working for the next couple of years, and then it just got to the point where it started affecting my job at the dealership, and I went and got on a methadone program to kind of, I guess, help the crutch for when I couldn't afford to get heroin. Excuse me. And, like I said, I kind of treated that as a joke. I didn't really participate as much in my counseling. It kind of just the bare minimum.
Right.
And, I never really earned any take-homes because I was always getting dirty urines.
So you were using the Oxy and heroin, or?
No, at that point I was using just heroin.
Okay.
The pills got too expensive after.
So what made you get on methadone treatment before?
It was, just to keep me stable throughout the day at work, either when I couldn't get it, my dope, or I was waiting after work, or whatever it may be. It just kept me stable throughout the day, and then
Right.
it helped.
Yeah. So you kind of used it as
As a crutch, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another means to stay well if I couldn't afford it, or.
Are you fearful that being here today might, lead into that same behavior?
I don't think necessarily. More serious this time. I have a lot more to lose this time. It's not just me. I'm trying to save my job and my marriage.
Yeah.
And, it's time to grow up, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah. Sounds like you kind of realized what matters, and
Woke up as a days, I guess.
yeah. It's hard, sometimes we need a little bit of a wake-up call.
in the butt.
Yeah. And, you definitely don't want to lose something before you, I guess, realize what you have until. What do
Yeah.
they say? You don't realize what you have until it's gone. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about, I guess you have any siblings? How was your childhood?
Yeah, I have a brother and a sister, younger sister, and older brother.
What's your relationship like with them?
My brother, I was more close with, I guess, because he's my older brother, and we used together for a little while.
Oh, okay.
He moved to Texas with my sister, and was with our stepfather now when he got clean. He went and moved there to get clean. And, my mom.
And your brother is in Texas now.
Yes.
He went there to get clean.
Yes. And my sister had moved there about a year before to live with her father.
Okay, which is your stepfather.
Yes. And my mom recently passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. What?
It was medical problems. Just
I'm sorry, you don't have to
misdiagnosed.
answer. So your brother went to Texas, get clean.
He's been doing pretty well down there. My sister, she just graduated high school, bought her car and all that.
Yeah. So she's your half sister.
Yes.
You and your brother have
yes.
a different dad?
Me and my brother have the same father, and my sister and my brother and I have different fathers.
Okay.
So yeah, my half sister.
So what's your relationship like with your father?
I don't really talk to him. He's never really been there, so don't really talk to him.
Just never been there?
No, he never really had he had the opportunity to be there, but he just never showed up, essentially.
So he wasn't like an addict or...
No, he just wasn't present. He had some excuse, some reason, one way or another, why, or, it was my mom's fault, or this, or that, or work, or...
Yeah.
But, no, and then even when we do talk, it's kind of awkward in a sense, I guess. It makes it awkward to talk, so... No, I just choose not to talk to him.
It's hard to build a relationship with someone, especially when you're older, and it's like they're a stranger.
Yeah.
And then,
They've never been there, and then you have to get to know them all over again.
Exactly.
But my childhood was okay to a certain extent, I guess. My mom and stepdad worked hard.
How old were you when they met?
I was young. I was maybe 7, 6. I was very young.
Yeah.
I think it was right around the time I was just getting into school, so kindergarten, first grade. And they worked hard to give us, I guess the better childhood that they had. They opened up a towing company, and
wow.
And once I got older, then my stepdad started getting, I guess, more angry at between business and all that, and he started getting abusive towards me and my brother. So that wasn't
like
the greatest
physically.
thing. Yeah. The night before Easter, he threw me across the room and put me in the hospital. I cut my head. And then, I had to lie to the hospital and then lie to his parents and all that the next day at Easter.
Jesus, what the heck triggered that? Had he been abusive before that?
Yeah. It
was just a random...
We were supposed to be cleaning my room, and then we weren't. And just went off.
And it went too far. It must have been really tough.
Yeah, and a couple years after that, he ended up going to jail, so
Oh,
didn't really have
jeez.
to deal with that too much anymore.
Yeah.
'Cause by the time he got out, I was older and an adult, and
What was it like? So when he was gone,
it was
you know, how was
okay. I guess
your
back to normal. I
your
guess you could
relationship with
say.
your siblings and your mom?
Yeah. Uh, we lived, not too far from his parents' house, and my sister was still young and all that, so I guess things just went back to normal and kept moving forward.
Yeah. So, but you said you worked for him.
Yeah, things got better. I guess after he got out of jail, and I was older, and he was older, and I guess he had time to think
Right.
about everything, and I've clearly changed, and so our relationship's better now, I guess. You could say
Is he
360.
supportive of your
Yeah.
recovery?
Yeah, he's supportive.
What about your
I work for him, and anything that I need, they say I can always call them. But right now, they don't want me coming back to work until I start, peeing clean and producing clean urines and stuff like that.
So they're looking out for your best interest.
Yeah.
It's that's important to have. Do you feel like you have a good network of people?
Yeah. I guess I've always had I guess you could say close network of people that are supportive. Between my grandmother and my wife and a couple friends.
Yeah, your grandmother. Okay.
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit about her.
Me and my wife currently live with her right now. We're saving up to buy a house, and we live with her and my grandfather and a couple other people.
What's that like? A couple other people.
Yeah, it's
And you guys are newlyweds, right? You said
we've been married about almost 2 years now. A year and a half, 2 years almost. It's okay, A lot of people, not too much privacy, but we try to keep to ourselves some, and for the most part,
it's hard.
Yeah.
When you don't have your own space.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as an adult, especially as a married adult.
Yeah.
So, do you think? Has that like impacted your using at all? Do you think?
It's probably added. I think it's added to stress a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying to save up money, get a house, and loans, and
definitely stressful.
Credit reports.
Yes. Being an adult.
Yeah.
So, overall, though, your living environment is stable.
Yes, stable. Yeah, stable environment. I've always, I've lived at that house for 10+ years. My wife had an apartment before we got married, but we decided it was best to stay there and save up rather than struggle and rent a place and struggle to save up money.
So she gave up her apartment
Yeah.
and moved in with you at your grandmother's.
Yeah. It was the end of her lease, and we talked about it and decided that was the best option at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to save a little bit of money, but
that's good.
Recently with my habit, and I started shooting recently, and I'm spending $50-$60 a day now on scramble. So
heroin scramble.
Yeah, so that's
and
been a strain because I'm spending quite a bit of money every week. And
Have you dipped into your guys' savings?
a little bit, but
Has she like noticed money missing? Or...
not yet. Nothing that I couldn't explain.
Okay.
And
But
you know, overall, she had a suspicion, and then the thing with work just kind of
gave her the confirmation
yeah.
that she needed. So you're ultimately here for yourself, for your job, and for your wife.
Yes.
I mean, ultimately, do you think that you would be here if it wasn't for your wife or your job? Because you're not being, I mean, you're voluntarily here, but...
I don't think, I think if I wouldn't have been caught, then no, but that's overall what I needed was that kick in the butt, you know, outside, someone in the outside opinion or aspect of seeing in and
yeah,
being able to be like, look, this is what's going on, and they say the drugs cloud your judgment and your mind and all that, and I wasn't seeing clearly. So,
that they do.
yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah, I think eventually I would have came to the realization that I need to get help, but
so
not at this time.
Overall, you're kind of glad you got caught.
Yeah, in a sense.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit and I guess talk about have you ever been, you said you had been in methadone treatment before, didn't really take it seriously. Had you been in any other kind of treatment?
Yeah, I did a 6-month rehab program called Today's Tomorrow.
Okay.
And like I said, that's when I got clean for 2.5 years after that. That helped.
That's great. That's great. So what was that like, being away for
It was
6 months?
interesting. It was something that I needed time.
Was that voluntary?
Yeah, I had an overdose after being at that methadone clinic and using, and I guess my tolerance got so high from the methadone and still continuing to use. I just used too much one day and overdosed and wanted to get help.
So you overdosed, then went to rehab.
Yes.
And then you've been sober since.
Yes.
Until your recent relapse.
Yes. My mom passed away, and the stress of being a newlywed and trying to save money and living with other people and just life in general.
It's definitely a lot. Definitely a lot. So, alright. Tell me a little bit about, do you have any other, excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a cramp in my leg. Do you have any other, like, medical problems?
I have ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD at a very young age. I was on almost every medicine under the sun that I could think about, but nothing ever really stuck. I had a bunch of bad side effects with one or the other, and you just got tired of being a guinea pig almost for every new medicine out there.
Oh, so you were trying all different kinds.
Yeah, if one didn't work, then something new came out, or we're gonna try this or try that.
How old were you when they started with the 80?
Probably about 10.
Who like,
my school said something to, my mom and stepdad about trouble focusing and being all over the place, and they took me to a doctor, and that's when I was diagnosed with it.
And then tried all the
Tried
medicines.
Ritalin and coffee and all the other.
They tried to tell you to drink coffee?
Yeah, that's what
Really?
I was on first. I drank a cup. I took thermos to school. And
Really?
Drank a cup in the morning and at lunch. They said caffeine has a different effect on children than it does adults. Almost a reverse effect.
And?
It helped for the most part, but honestly, I don't even remember why. I think because a new medicine came out, Ritalin or something, and
Yeah.
they wanted to try me on that.
And then you had a
Bad side effects. Either a zombie, or I lost weight, or had no appetite, or I gained a bunch of weight. And,
jeez, that's a lot. That's stressful as a kid too.
Yeah, and after so many years, you kind of just learn to deal with it and stop taking all the junk they give you, essentially.
So you didn't stay on any of the medications?
No.
You never found anything that worked?
No, and
so
that was stressful. And just,
so how do you deal with your ADHD now? How do you?
Well, now I use marijuana and I smoke pot, but
You find
back
that's
then,
helpful.
Yeah, back then it was hard. I got frustrated and tend to have a bunch of anger issues, I guess, because of that, and a bunch of other, things, being abused. And
Yeah. So, did that affect your schooling?
Yeah. I ended up dropping out because I, couldn't get my attention wasn't being held, and sleeping because I was just bored and didn't get the help that I needed.
Right.
So I kind of dropped out, and eventually I got my GED after a couple years. But
that's great. That's great. Hey, you drop out, you get your GED. But these days, they look at it same thing. Unfortunately, but. So did you found that it was just hard to focus in school with the work?
Huge classes, and didn't really get the attention that I guess I needed.
Right.
The extra help or extra time on tests, or just
with learning disabilities like ADHD, you should get that extra time, I believe.
Yeah, I was on a program. It was like an IEP or something like that. But I went to a large high school, so 30, 35, 40 kids in a class, and they're kind of just trying to keep everyone moving along, so they just keep passing you on. And
yeah, you don't.
There's more serious cases, I guess, than someone with ADHD.
Right. So you don't feel like you're really getting that, help that you need.
And after a while, I just got tired of going and stopped going, or I left early and just ended up dropping out and partied the next couple of years, I guess.
Yeah.
Hung out with friends and drank and smoked pot and dabbled in mushrooms and psychedelics,
right,
ecstasy.
But it was never really.
No, nothing ever really stuck, but tried a couple things just to try them, and you're young. And
you like to party.
Yeah.
But never had any addiction.
No, not really with any of that. Wasn't much of a smoker, wasn't much of a drinker, I should say. The only, I guess, addiction you could really say would be is my marijuana use and the opiates I have. But other than that, nothing really stuck.
Yeah, but you feel like the marijuana is more helpful.
I consider it more of a medicine, but.
Have you thought about getting your medical card?
Yeah, I've talked to my wife about it, but just never gone through the process. It just seemed so crazy. It seems it's a lot.
Yeah, it definitely seems a little intimidating, but it's a lot, the process is a lot easier, than most people think. So that's definitely something that we can, look into doing if
Mm-hmm.
you're interested in,
I guess.
especially if it's helpful for you.
Yeah, I think that'd be something.
So right now, are you just buying your weed on the streets?
Yeah. A couple
Okay.
friends sell or here
Right.
and there.
And you take those risks, and you don't know what you get, and
The risk of getting in trouble and
all that stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. Even if it's decriminalized, you're getting a ticket or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's
And,
actually
I've been caught twice before.
yeah. Let's talk about your legal.
Well, I got caught with pot once. I was actually out of state at the time when I was 16, almost 17.
Mm-hmm.
I was in South Carolina,
Uh-oh.
and I got caught on the beach with a very small amount of pot.
Mm-hmm. And
Got locked up, and then I had to do a
jeez.
diversion program when I came back home.
Oh, and you're on vacation.
Yes.
Oh.
And I had to random drug test, and I had to do
At 16.
yes, and I had to do it was probation in a sense, but I had to do like a program like drug counseling in a sense. I had to go and take a class once a week for
What?
16 weeks, I think it was, and
Wow.
whatever I could do to keep it off my record at the time.
Yeah. They definitely took weed way more serious back then than they do today. So.
And then I was caught one other time when I was 21 and with pot. I got pulled over and I had a blunt in the car and I ended up getting a ticket and I had to pay a fine. But other than that, I haven't really had any legal issues.
So at that time, marijuana had been decriminalized.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Been a couple years in between, and they finally seen that it wasn't as bad as they were making it out to be, and a couple of states were starting to go medical, and everyone started decriminalizing it.
Right.
I mean, it was still a fine, but it's better than getting locked up and having go on probation again or do all that.
For sure, there's so many people, that have marijuana charges, and it's just so unnecessary. But, anyways, is there anything that we haven't covered? I think we've talked about, so right now, how much are you using?
Probably about $60, $50 a day.
Okay.
5 or 6 caps a day. So
caps of scramble, heroin. Okay. So you're cooking up and you shoot it.
And then I pack of needles once a week. So.
Do you have Narcan?
No, I don't.
Okay, we'll make sure to get you some Narcan. When's the last time you used?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Evening.
So you haven't used today. How you feeling?
I'm okay right now, but not 100%, but not horrible either.
So how does your wife feel about all this right now? About you being here?
Well, she's definitely mad about the situation, but I guess supportive. She wants me to get help, and she clearly hasn't left.
Right. Is she okay with you being on methadone?
Yeah. She'd rather me be on something that's prescribed and I can eventually get off of, rather than continuing to use or to go away for another 6 months or however long, or being plain old sick and doing it cold turkey.
Yeah, for sure. And then
This is the better of the options.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so, but if your job is willing to, work with, so they're accepting of you being on methadone. They're okay with that.
Yeah, I think they have the same view on it. They rather not lose me for that a long amount of time, and I guess everyone sees that I was able to kick it for a little while before, and
Well, you said you had 2 years.
yeah,
So,
and with some dedication and a little help, I think I'd be able to do it again.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, Sebastian. Well, have you thought about, as far as your ADHD, you don't have any other, do you have any other mental health concerns? Do you think that you would want to maybe see a psychiatrist? Or do you think that the marijuana is just helping? And
I had anger issues when I was younger, not so much anymore, but I mean, a psychiatrist could help if
anger issues, say,
like I would get worked up and frustrated, and I would like kick the wall or punch something or just freak out. And
did it ever interfere with your day-to-day life? Did it ever get you in trouble at work or at school or with friends?
Not at work, but school sometimes, and friends, yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's something that we can think about doing. If that's something that you would like to address.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely got something.
Has it been an issue in your marriage?
Yeah, sometimes, heat of an argument, and, get mad and overreact, and.
Why don't you tell me, what are some of your, strengths? What is something that you would say is a really good...
I pick tasks up easy, I guess you could say. I'm a quick learner. And, when I get, that's, I guess, the help or I'm into it or whatever, but I can pick up certain tasks.
Like if...
Well, all tasks, I guess you could say. Most tasks that I are presented with. Like, I learn things easy. Like in my job now, when I first started out, I didn't have, I guess you could say, the vast knowledge of vehicles and how to fix everything, but after working 6 years at a dealership, when I left, I was replacing motors and transmissions and doing electrical work, and
that's a big deal. It's not easy stuff.
Yeah, I guess I retain a lot of knowledge
easily.
Yeah.
Pick up on stuff.
Yeah. Whether it's being taught or if I'm just listening to something, I guess. TV or the radio, yeah. Good with my hands. Other than that.
That comes in handy with your work?
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have too many other extravagant skills that other people don't.
Yeah. Would you say that you had any, needs? I mean, how ready are you? How ready are you to commit to this treatment?
I'm 100% ready to commit to this treatment.
Would you be interested in, participating in, our groups and stuff that we offer here? And
I think that'd be a good, thing to try out, and maybe looking to see a psychiatrist, as you said, and get my medical card. Would definitely be a good step. And
Absolutely.
be able to
Absolutely.
expand my knowledge and how to.
So we're gonna get you, we're gonna teach you some cooking skills and get you to, mend these relationships that you've
Put stress on
yeah.
recently.
You want it, you're here, you made the effort. So I think we can do it. So I guess we'll get your intake process started. Get you medicated. I don't know how to